Welcome back to Binge Finance. We talk about growth stocks which have pulled back. Stay up to date with our content by subscribing and turning on notifications. A lot of people have requested a deeper dive into MP Materials because it's still struggling to find any buyers, which seems weird because MP produces approximately 15% of global rare earth content. Just take the electric car for example, you can see how reliant it is on rare earth magnets. Given the booming growth in the green energy space, why then is MP Materials' share price still struggling? We're going to look into this now, but first remember I'm just a YouTuber, I could miss something important, so please do your own due diligence. And stocks that have pulled back can continue to go down, so don't risk more than you can afford to lose on any one trade. Okay, in my first video on MP Materials we spoke about how the stock ran up from $10 to $52, and I said that move happened too quickly. A pullback is natural and we've seen the same thing in many other SPACs. For those that don't know, a SPAC, or Special Purpose Acquisition Company, is a shell corporation listed on the stock exchange with the purpose of acquiring a private company. I think we had a bit of a SPAC mania towards the end of last year and the beginning of this year, and MP Materials was part of that. Even more notable was that MP Materials was a SPAC backed by Chamath Palihapitiya. Chamath has done so many SPACs. He's affectionately known as the SPAC King. The trouble is, too much hype went into his SPACs. People tended to buy anything associated with him due to his previous success in the business world. And now we're seeing articles such as SPAC Wipeout is punishing followers of Chamath Palihapitiya. And actually his SPACs are underperforming the SPAC index overall. Bloomberg comments, just as Chamath was the face of the SPAC frenzy that gripped the financial markets at the start of the year, he is today the face of the bust. And as it says in the article here on Yahoo News, too much supply is part of what did the SPACs in. Dozens of new deals, many of them minted by celebrities, were hitting the market each and every week. And that's true, there were so many SPACs, everyone was going to be the next big thing, a bit like the crypto phase in 2017, with a new altcoin every single day. And so you've got to remember that MP Materials was mixed up amongst all of this hype. And if we just pick a few of Chamath Palihapitiya's SPACs, we see a similar story to MP Materials in the charts. You can look at Clover Health, Virgin Galactic, Open Door. So this should be of some comfort though, because all these companies can't be bad companies fundamentally. It shows the SPACs overall are experiencing a cool-off. And during that cool-off, legendary investor Bill Miller says the window is closing on the SPAC market. He thinks that the SPAC craze may be winding down in general, and that many SPACs have extraordinarily expensive valuations. And add to this the recent insider selling, which we spoke about in my second video on MP Materials. And as we know, the insider selling definitely spooked the market and started to sell off initially, but as if that wasn't enough, just as MP started to consolidate and maybe find support, Jim Cramer said in his Mad Money lightning round last week on the 16th of April that MP Materials is trading bad. He said that he's going to recommend QuantumScape instead. Now QuantumScape is an American company that has developed lithium metal batteries which have higher energy density. But Jim Cramer's comments here seem odd to me because MP Materials isn't making batteries. In fact, they aren't concerned with which battery tech wins in the end because they'll all need the rare earth materials in the motors. Either Jim Cramer was comparing MP Materials to QuantumScape, or he was trying to appease the investors who wanted to be in the green energy EV sector, and so just recommended QuantumScape off the top of his head, which is understandable as this comment was made during his rapid fire lightning round. It's also odd because just 3 weeks earlier in another Mad Money lightning round, he said about MP Materials, quote, "I like them very much. The stock has had a very big move up, but I do think it's a terrific situation." Now you mustn't underestimate the effect of Jim Cramer's comments on moving the market and moving stock prices. In fact, there's a phenomenon called the Cramer bounce. The Cramer bounce refers to the sudden overnight rise of a stock price after it's been recommended by Jim Cramer on his long-running CNBC show Mad Money. But there's also a thing called the Cramer flip-flop. Critics often point out that Cramer can be fickle in his investment outlook because he appears to frequently flip-flop from a bullish to a bearish position to reflect the market's current sentiment. And the EV sector is down as well. On Reddit you see a lot of people venting their frustration. I'll read a comment here. So over the last few months, I've thrown money at least a dozen different companies related to electric vehicle technology, from Tesla to Ballard to MP Materials, and with few exceptions, I'm constantly down and seeing red. And some of the comments say things like, basically, EVs are just hype. Until I see a viable competitor to Tesla, that's not a SPAC or a Chinese company, I'm staying out of the EV battery stocks. This comes back to what I was saying earlier. MP Materials is not an EV company. But I do think they have somehow been clumped in with the EV stocks, and perhaps that's contributed to some of the sell-off as well. So you've got everything there. You've got the SPAC sell-off, the EV sell-off, the insider selling, Jim Cramer's remarks, and just the fact that it ran up so much initially. But hopefully that's now turning around, because yesterday we saw a lot of these SPACs move up with quite nice momentum. In fact, a fellow YouTuber called Deadnsyde just did a video called Will SPACs Recover? I'll put a link to his video in the description as well. Guys, I'm really sorry, I'm going to have to split this video into two parts because my laptop is really struggling for some reason to process the data. But stick around for the second half, because we're going to look at the fact that the Chinese company that part owns MP Materials is also the only buyer of the concentrate that MP Materials generates. But I'm going to look into that, and I'll dig deeper into other things that could affect the stock price. So if you want to subscribe, you'll get notified when I post that. I'm not saying that to get you to subscribe, I promise, even though I'd love you to. It's because I'm not sure when I'm going to post it. It's going to be in a day or two, as quick as I can. So look out for that one.